I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Joel Saints, that is my buddy Patrick McCray. We are here to talk Dark Shadows, parallel time, theories, all sorts of stuff. So, Patrick, we see two parallel time rooms, one for 1970 parallel time, one for 1841
So
parallel
it's not
time.
the same room. I thought it was the same room.
It's the same. It's the same room. It's two different time bands, I'll say. Um,
Okay.
but the one thing we do see that I was always was curious about is we see the book of William Hollinshead Loomis come through that that world and into the world of regular time where
Hmm?
Barnabas is, and that's he sees the book and he's curious about, did I live another life? you know,
Regular
um,
time is what you get from Metamucil. I
yes,
call it
yes.
I call it primary time.
So this sort of gives Barnabas a sort of false hope that he can live a normal life, not as a vampire. Um,
Okay.
so we only see two parallel time rooms. Do you think there was more?
Yeah. Well, I don't see why there wouldn't be.
Right.
We know so little about the origin of the parallel time room, about whether or not it's unique, and whether or not there are more parallel time rooms. There was the professor who came up with the whole parallel time theory that Stokes quotes. So we don't know if he had visited Collinwood and he got
Mhm.
that idea from there, or if there are other parallel time rooms, and if those parallel time rooms are linked. I mean, we just watched Stargate a week ago,
Yeah.
so I think there's something interesting to that. In literature, I don't know a precedent for parallel time. I don't know of another story. Dark Shadows, which prided itself on its lack of originality, um, nevertheless, pretty unique when it comes to
Yeah.
the parallel time business. Because I even think, let's see, when was the first parallel time episode?
Well, the first parallel time there was the first person to see parallel time was the wife of the antique shop owner.
Megan
She
Todd.
Yeah, Megan Todd sees the parallel. She's the first person to see the parallel time room and find it and stuff. Barnabas finds the book of William Hollinshead Loomis. I will say that what I find most unique about this. Now, do I think that Megan is the first official person? I mean, hypothetically, I think from their time, from the 1970 parallel time, I would dare say their Victoria winners came into our time already.
Really, parallel time Biggie winners
Hmm.
is running around primary time. When would you
Yeah.
say this happened?
Sometime after, sometime right before Vicky leaves permanently Collinwood, before she goes back to meet Jeff Clark.
Do you think the other Biggie winners, meaning the fabulous Betsy Durkin
Hmm.
and the astounding Carolyn Groves,
Hmm.
um, do you think they are different parallel time versions? And do they indeed look that different from Alexander Mulkey? And was everyone just too polite to say anything? Did they think maybe it was her cosmetics or some allergic reaction?
I think that one of them could have been. I would say most Betsy Durkin could have been. I mean, we don't know. That's the fun thing about this whole theoretically debate. Like,
Yeah.
if if parallel time, I would say the biggest difference is that parallel time Vicky Winters found out who her parents were. There's no mystery with her; she knows. Because again, each parallel time character made different choices, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, what was the different choices that the parallel time Vicky made, other than theoretically coming into regular Vicky's reality? She would have had to find out different things. And maybe she even knows about Barnabas. Who knows?
If there were a band of time
Mhm.
where everyone had colorful feathers instead of hair, would it be called parrot time?
Well, if they had like the big feathers, it'd be called like peacock parallel time. Uh,
Barnabas would arrive in parrot time asking if Willie had a cockatoo.
sorry.
Terrible misunderstandings would occur, and he would wind up back in the coffin. I'm telling you,
Uh,
we're not letting him out.
well, you know what's really weird too is like when we first initially see like the closed off sections of the house, because we see them way back in the beginning. Like we see part of the east and west wing where Roger is walking through to find Victoria Winters locked in the abandoned room. So you see all that stuff, and then when they do open up the west wing, it's to because remember Burke's actually going to move before his plane crash. He's going to move into Collinwood. So you see the west wing being opened up for the first time, and it's like, okay, you see all these rooms that we don't necessarily get to explore. Vicky, they start making room, but it doesn't come to fruition. Then the kids find Quentin's room sealed off. It's like, okay, what about all these other rooms? What are they?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, so, gosh, Joel, that is really, really, really a good question because if the regular family, the Collinwood sized family, can fit in the central wing, or it's not a wing, in the breast, if you will, of Collinwood, the torso, the solar plexus of Collinwood, the bowels of Collinwood. That's a good Dan Ross title.
Yeah.
Um, if they can fit in there, and we're talking about David, Vicky,
Yep.
uh, Liz, Roger. I'm effervescing. I apologize. And Mrs. Johnson. We'll assume Mrs. Johnson's in there too.
Yeah.
So that's five people easily living in a house, just the central part of which has got to have 10 bedrooms.
Yep.
I would imagine they might not be big, but they're they're whatever, they're clean. Um, so I mean, what on earth is going on in those other two wings?
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
in 1897, yeah, Quentin, Hot Carl, you got Edward, you got Jameson. We'll say Nora has a separate bedroom, even though she doesn't. Nora, Judith, Beth,
Hmm.
what the hell, Dirk? No, he's got a shack.
Yeah, he's a shark.
Beth, Grandma, Mama.
Yep.
Okay, so that's eight people there. Have I left anybody out?
Crazy Jenny's living in the tower room.
She doesn't count. She would have been staying with Quentin.
Yeah, that's
So it's eight people. So the West Wing is holding only eight people.
yep.
That's four. Now we'll assume that it's Collingwood's 2 stories, right? It's 2 stories.
Hmm.
So that's four people per story. If you want to divide it up like that, well, that's nothing.
Yeah.
So that's 4 bedrooms for these massive corridors. And trust me, he said, pulling rank, as a guy who's been to Seaview Terrace. Seaview Terrace has a lot more than 4 bedrooms per floor. Seaview Terrace is bloody enormous, and it's very easy to get lost there. Um, so ah, it's my
Yeah.
long-winded way of saying I don't know.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind too, in the beginning of Dark Shadows, Elizabeth says there are 40 rooms in the entire house. So it's like, okay, is that 10 rooms a wing or what? like, yeah, like,
It's a good question. I mean, so that there are 40 rooms. So what would you say? Is 10 rooms per person
well, at least 10 room. Okay.
if there are 4 people?
Okay. We see, okay, initially Vicky's room was originally Elizabeth's when she was a kid, right? When she was a teenager.
Sure.
Carolyn has a room. David has his own room, so that's 3. Matthew is living in a shack, so that doesn't count. Roger has his own room. That's 5. Elizabeth has her own bedroom. That's 6. So that leaves 4 empty rooms.
So you got Jason McGuire's room.
Yeah. Well, when he comes there, yes. Willie's
Okay,
room.
so let's say that's another room. It's not
Okay,
Vicky's room.
so Jason McGuire's room. Willie's room
Willie
would be
Woods.
Willie,
Where's Willie hanging?
and then for number 9 would be Mrs. Johnson's room. So you would
Okay.
have 9 rooms. That leaves 1 empty room.
Dr. Hoffman's room.
Yep, Dr. Hoffman's room. Yep.
Yeah. So
So you'd have 10 rooms in that part of the house.
plus
Then
you
you
got
get
10 forward. You got
I
sick
don't
bay,
well
the
if you
transporter room.
when you're watching DS, when you go back and watch like the episodes, the rooms are across, like some of them are across from each other. They're on the same hallway.
Yeah.
You have Carolyn's like is down a couple doors, and I think it's to the right or something. Then there's David's. Elizabeth is actually directly across from Vicky's. So because when Roger goes there, Elizabeth opens her door and she says, "Roger, get away from that door." So Elizabeth is right next to Vicky. She's across from her room.
Okay.
Which is like, okay. So we don't I don't know how far Jason McGuire's room would be down from that, or Willie's room, or even Dr. Hoffman's. But it's interesting that some of the rooms are like they're either directly across from each other or diagonally across. So
Do you think there's lots of like people sneaking around and not seeing each other? Does that happen?
well,
Does one door close and another door open? And then they sneak across the hallway, and when that door closes, another one opens?
well, you do hear a lot of doors going open and close throughout the house. It's like who's opening the doors. You don't always get to see that.
No, you don't. And then Nicholas Blair is there for a while. What's he doing there? What's his bedroom like? We know that he has a picture of Angelique that he. Oh, no, that's Roger. No, it's Nicholas. Nicholas says he wants to be alone with the picture of his sister.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's standing in the drawing. He's standing in the drawing room.
I got in trouble online with that Asilius guy or whoever he is, the one who like does the comparisons of me and somebody else. The that guy, and
Yeah.
not with him, but with his wife. Who was because I called in the daybook. I referred to Nicholas's urges regarding the being alone with his painting of his sister as suspiciously Kentuckian, and it's funny. Thank you. It's funny.
It's fun.
It's just funny. You have a sense of humor, for God's sake. You're from Kentucky, not you, but I mean, yes, you don't have much if you're from Kentucky, so a sense of humor is about the only thing. That and that Stephen Foster song, and so which the lyrics they had to rewrite. So I'm from Kentucky, and I think I can make all the jokes about Kentucky I want. And yeah, I got in trouble for that. But I mean, we're known for our incest. I think it was on the. It was like it was on it was on the state flag or something for a while. The state flag said, "We are a commonwealth, not a state." P.S. There's incest here. But it's not like, and then the other states objected because well, it's here too.
Yeah.
So they got into a big legal fight over like is there incest in other states. And then Kentucky said, "We're not a state, we're a commonwealth." And they're like, "Kentucky, you got us this time, but Virginia's a commonwealth too, and it's coming up in the rearview mirror." I don't know where any of this is going.
You know who once visited Kentucky and visited a mental asylum? John Carpenter.
Well, John Carpenter's from Kentucky, I think, or his dad taught at Bowling Green University. Taught
Cool.
music composition.
Cool.
Yeah, or Western Kentucky University in Bowling Green, something like that.
Cool,
But
cool.
yeah. John's considered sort of like a kind of Kentuckian, I think. And I mean, I rag on Kentucky because it's it's Kentucky. Um, but I'm actually very proud of Kentucky. Do you know who's from Kentucky? Dexter's weird sister, the one with the face that's kind of like going in two different directions at once. She's from Kentucky.
Cool.
Jennifer Lawrence is from Kentucky, and maybe Asia also. I don't know. Jennifer Lawrence is from Kentucky. Johnny Depp is from Kentucky. George Clooney is from Kentucky. Muhammad Ali, of course, is from Louisville, my hometown. So is
Yep.
Todd Browning, director of Dracula. So is D.W.
Yeah.
Griffith. So is Hunter S. Thompson,
Yeah.
who counted as a girlfriend my aunt.
Cool.
Yeah. And you know who else is from Kentucky? Me.
There you go. There you go. Uh,
Asilius, I'm mispronouncing your name, but we love you.
oh my gosh. I will say this too about the parallel time rooms and dark shadows that okay, in regular time we get there are so many rooms of floor, maybe 10 rooms of floor, and depending on the time band you live in, maybe all those rooms are filled, maybe all of them aren't, and maybe some of them are living in not necessarily a room, just a regular room. Maybe some of them are living in a tower room. Um,
Yeah,
for
well, something. Keep going, and then something occurred to me that had not occurred to me before.
for example, when we see when we go to 1897, Jenny's living in the tower room. You have grandma who has her own room. Quentin
Yeah.
has his own room, and they're living in the west. Again, he lives in the west wing of the house. Now, you have also in that west wing, you have Beth the servant. She has her own room, a very small room. It's not. It's it's not the same as Angelique's room in the old house. Um, but you also have let's see. No, Dirk Wilkins lived in a shack. You have Edward Collins has his own room. Amy and David, I think, stay in the same room, I believe.
Nora and Jameson.
Or sorry, Nora and Jameson. I apologize. Nora and Jameson stay in the same room.
They've been married for years. Old married couple. They weren't brother and sister. They were husband and wife. Come on. Can't fool me. They were both in their 40s. People aged differently back then.
I bet they did. So, so you get so to me you don't have all the rooms taken in that because again Quentin's in the West Wing, some of the servants are in the West Wing, and again the house is more opened up in 1897 than it is in when we start off with Dark Shadows. So what do you think?
Yes. Jewel, you do this to me sometimes. You'll say like these very wise things. You'll say a lot of stuff, and it's all good, but it like goes in eight different directions. And then you say, "So, what do you think?" It's like, yes, yes is what I think. It's all good to me. I'll tell you what I think. And it's this: that you have a room we haven't talked about that operates, I think, on parallel Timeian terms. And it's actually two rooms. Well, maybe it's one. There's the linen closet
Yeah.
that turns into the playroom.
Yeah.
And that has a time travel portal adjacent to it.
Yes, it does.
So I got a good laugh out of a cast member once, a really big laugh, when I read an introduction I wrote to the Daybook episode about that, which is Barnabas. Quentin is wary when Barnabas tries to lure him into the playroom with lure him into a linen closet with the promise there's a playroom inside. Naughty, naughty, Candy. No.
Yeah.
It's true. That was the plot. God, what a show! What a great show!
Yeah.
All right, so So yeah, so you have another one in there. So let's talk about the origins of these things, because there are audience members who are starving for us to talk about Dark Shadows, or at least me talk about Dark Shadows, and not prattle on about Jennifer Carpenter. Um, so I don't know. No. Um, so either these rooms existed in England and they were brought over, or they happened here, maybe through science of some sort, or
Yeah.
maybe there was some sort of instability on the grounds, and it's focused on those areas, or those rooms were built around the zones of instability, which I think is quite possible. Were they in two different wings, the playroom and the parallel time room?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I believe they were.
Well, then it'd be interesting to know how they parallel each other, literally how they
Yeah.
parallel each other. Because if they are equidistant from one another, well, I guess they would have to be equidistant, but if they're equidistant from the third point,
Mm-hmm.
then that says something. And what's the third point? Well, there's one more parallel time-ish here
Right.
today, gone tomorrow, object on the Collins grounds. What is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
Because that's the thing. You're right. The playroom doubles as a time traveling device,
It does. Now,
and
but I want to talk about that. What's the third object?
I
Because
would.
it's a time traveling device. Leviathan.
Could it? Well,
Leviathan altar.
I had wondered in a weird way, could it have been the grandfather clock? But I don't know.
I mean, yes, of course it could be. No, I mean maybe, but I don't think there's any evidence for that. But
Right.
there is a thing that we see that is there sometimes, not there other times. That is a time travel portal at least twice, and that's the Leviathan altar. And I guess you know what? There's a fourth. Now that I think about it, there's a fourth, and that's the area where Vicky's coffin was when
Yeah.
Barnabas travels through time.
Yeah. Well, there's one other place that's not. It's not Collinwood, but we only visit there one time, and that's the house of Caleb Sayre Collins. You
Yeah,
know what? Like, is that house somehow? Are there places you can move for time in that house? So
that's a good question. I have no answer. I wish I knew what he was saying.
I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
That's okay. If you're feeling sad and lonely, there's a service I can render. From the one who loves you only, I can be so warm and tender. Call me, don't be afraid to just call me. It might be late, but just call me. I'll be around. There he is. We see all of him. Look at him go. He's just like he's penetrating the two worlds. He's resident of Hollywood. He's joined with it. Look at that. I want to see the flicker. The red shirt breaking through to our side. That's actually the back end of Collinwood, so to speak. That's the part that faces the ocean. I saw that when I went to Seaview Terrace. But you don't see the other side because there's a road and a bunch of other houses. So there's like stuff in the way. When I was 27, it was 1998, and I was chaperoning a trip to the New England area, sophomores. And we were going around, and you won't believe this, but we were in Newport. And what did I know about Newport? And the bus stops, and there's Collinwood. It was stunning. I wasn't expecting it. It was like when Kirk's on the motorcycle and stops and sees the Enterprise being built, except he didn't have any association with the Enterprise. Hi, Jewel. It's been a fascinating discussion. I'm glad you're able to join me.
Uh, so that's another part that always boggled me. We only see that house once. The house of Caleb Sayre Collins.
True. When do we see it? Is that Seaview?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
that's the Seaview house that Burke wants to buy for Vicky.
Yeah.
And Vicky says that when she looked out the window, she saw a schooner. It's like, wait, how'd you see that?
Because it wasn't later.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, you're gonna be mine. I'm Madonna.
But again, that's so there are many, to me, in Dark Shadows, there are many time traveling devices, or perhaps there are more ways of going into parallel time than what we saw.
It'd be interesting is if for Joshua, as I like to think Joshua is actually a seasoned occultist, who just maintains a really good cover. Um, that for Joshua or Jeremiah or whoever was responsible for it, that those parallel time rooms were actually meant to be known by very specific visitors. Hellfire Club visitors, cult visitors, and there was a ledger, a map. Like, okay, these are dimensions, 5, 6, and 7. These are dimensions A, B, and 9.
Yeah,
That you could find there, and that this was the world's most organized set of portals to parallel time that had ever been constructed.
yeah,
And I think it all has to. I mean, the most powerful, by implication, object on the grounds is going to be the Leviathan altar.
yeah,
I mean, these creatures that pre-exist, you know, Dick Clark. I mean, they're old, and so to be that powerful, I think everything is about controlling that, or
yeah.
welcoming that, or it's a helipad for them, or it's mitigating the radiation from it. I don't know, but I think they're involved.
Yeah, and we do see them show up in 1795. Uh, we do see them come forward into the future. They literally appear out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's plenty of evidence that these creatures move through time with ease with that altar. Um, so
So there we go.
yeah, it's definitely a possibility for sure. Um, I would say too, I sort of wonder where the old house fits into the whole parallel time travel region. You know what I mean? We haven't seen anything out of there really.
There's only one bit of time travel that happens in the old house that I know of. I'm probably missing something, of course. Uh, but it's the trip back to 1797, something like that. It's where they,
Yeah,
they sort of
yeah,
lived but at the end of 1897,
yep. That's it.
and and the lesson there is please do not stand too close to a painting
Yeah,
of
no.
of Josette while an open flame is present. Jewel,
Was that one of the strangest ones for you that
it
you
sure
saw in the
was.
show?
It was crazy, go nuts. It was madness.
Yeah.
Madness. I have to.
Okay. So
I've been trying to.
for Patrick McCray, I'm Joel Staines. Link to the Patrick Star Shadows Daybook Unbound will be in the description box. Have a good night, Patrick.
Joel, thank you. It was a pleasure as always.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, that is over.